I feel quite apprehensive about the running scene since I heard about Mary Cain's story. And I'm not sure if you're familiar
Mm.
with Mary Cain, but
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, for anyone who hasn't heard of her story, I recommend looking up. She's got a video on YouTube that's got millions of views called "I was the fastest runner in the world, and then I
Mm.
joined Nike." And it talks about her
Mm-hmm.
story through pressure and abuse and eating disorder. And I think it's incredibly important to highlight for anyone who's into fitness or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find any of that on a scale within or your perspective?
Yeah, so unfortunately, my older sister, who was an athlete herself, suffered from an eating disorder, and so I really saw it firsthand how destructive it can be because it really it completely well she stopped doing all the sports that she was good at the time, and it really yeah took away so much of herself and her life. And she's I would say recovered now 10 years later or so. But unfortunately, when I went to college in the US, I saw that most college programs have a pretty bad eating disorder culture, and it's quite normal for coaches to turn a blind eye or even encourage athletes, especially female athletes, to be at an unhealthy weight for their performance. Unfortunately, yeah, the college system, it's 4 years. You've got 4 years to prove yourself, and yeah, it's kind of about points. Doing well, if you're not doing well, that's all right. Someone else will do it. Someone else will run instead. So yeah, it was definitely a struggle, and I was around quite a few people who had quite evident eating disorders, and it definitely took a toll on my mental health. And I would say I haven't suffered from an eating disorder myself, but I've definitely had disordered eating habits and really quite bad stages of negative body image and that kind of thing, just because of the environments I've been around. And we did, yeah, have some issues with just our coaching staff, how our coach was, the culture on the team and comments that were being made and that sort of thing. So it was quite difficult for a few years being in that environment, but it definitely taught me a lot. And having seen what my sister had gone through, I was quite adamant that I wasn't going to let myself go down that path. So I'm lucky that I felt like I had a strong hold on who I was and like the strong runner that I wanted to be, and like the strong woman that I wanted to be.
How do you like? What are those conversations like? Because there's this at the end of the day is a team. When you're running, especially in a college
Mm.
situation, do you have these
Yeah.
conversations with these girls like what you're doing is not okay? Like, are you trying to override the coach that's like, yeah, you got to get to this figure so you can run X time? Like,
Mm.
are you in a spot that you can be that, or is there pressure from the coach or a scarcity? Like, if I talk up, I might be frowned upon and I might lose my position here.
Yeah, I think that I definitely took on like a role, especially as when I was an older member of the team, to like talk to the younger runners and the other girls around me and be like, talk about what's healthy and like, check in with them if they felt like they were doing so well or they were displaying, signs of struggling. But yeah, it's definitely hard. Yeah, it's just unfortunately like there's I guess that idea that lighter is faster, and the thing is sometimes yeah it is the case. Like lighter can be faster, but not always, and it's not sustainable for a long time. So it is hard to have those conversations, but yeah, I definitely did, and it's something that I've been quite passionate about, trying to help other runners to be healthy and to enjoy themselves and to find longevity in the sport, because I truly believe that you have to have a healthy relationship with yourself, with your body, with food, if you want to have longevity, especially as an endurance athlete, as an endurance runner.
Yeah, it's really such a shame, and I'm thankful that you took a stance. And it's something that's you're right. It does require sustainability, and the way that these athletes are treated is anything but. In a lot of these cases, have you thought about how we can induce some sort of systematic change to remove this oppression from the running and fitness industry? Because I'm sure it's not specific to running industry. I'm sure there's cyclists like that. I'm sure there's
Yeah,
swimmers. It's ever evolving
yeah.
and wide.
I think it's happening. I think that a lot of people like now, um, now if you look at, if I look at, the start line of Olympic final, it's it's strong. It's very lean women, but they're strong women. They don't look like they're about to break. Whereas if you look at a start line maybe of a NCAA cross country race, it might be people who look like they're maybe not at a healthy weight, but you just find that you can only be in that stage for a small amount of time, and it's not sustainable to get to the next level. So I think, especially with social media, it can help that people are seeing what healthy looks like for those like role models who are actually out there doing it. But also, of course, social media is also that kind of comparison game. So there's a trade-off for it being positive and negative at the same time. But yeah, I'm not really sure. I think that just people like Mary Kane who are speaking out and showing that you're more than just an athlete who runs fast. You're a person, and you can achieve a lot of other amazing things. I think all of that kind of plays into rewriting what it's going to look like in the future going forward.